Hello everyone, welcome again to Zavinsky Life, and in this new chapter we have a lot to celebrate. I, Eric, am the leader of the bunch, and I am ready to take on Donkey Kong Bananza, the new release for Nintendo Switch 2. We have our reactions to the initial trailer from the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct in one of the earlier vlogs this year, and let it be known I've been anticipating this game for a long time. And this has been a Donkey Kong game that I've wanted for a long time. It's been over 11 years since we've really had a new Donkey Kong game, Tropical Freeze being the most recent, and I was in high school when that came out. And I'm old now, so I'm really excited to be at this moment. The Super Mario Odyssey development team, they've made Galaxy, 3D World Odyssey, they have now made a Donkey Kong 3D platformer, so Mario Odyssey being my favorite platformer of all time, I have high expectations, and I've been a Donkey Kong fan all of my life, so I'm going to be sharing my initial thoughts on the game in this video, as I've done in previous vlogs where I've focused on Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Mario Odyssey. I figured that this game, it's going to be very special, and it really deserves its own video. So, thank you guys for joining me, and without further ado, let's dive in. And of course, yes, I did have to dress up for the occasion. Necktie and no shirt. That's how DK would want it. And I'm fully committed. Fully committed. And of course, we did also pick up the Donkey Kong and Pauline amiibo to add to our vast collection. And this one looks really, really nice. Give a little 360 here.
there goes nothing.
Okay, Kong Bananza time. Let's do it.
얘기한 시절다 보기주도 뭐게로
The planet core? But no! I'm going with DK, so you just stay away!
Keep guilty? Tell me we keep.
Sticky and Quick, go after it!
Qui roche medial. Bien.
Okay, here I go.
And about 24 hours later, I am back to give an update. I think I'm at the halfway point of Donkey Kong Bananza, and I think that is reasonable considering it's a 3D platformer, but it's on the longer side, and it just kind of feels like it's the halfway point. I believe there are many layers. That's what they call the levels or worlds in this game, because you're digging underground and going towards the planet core. So basically what I've seen so far has been a good amount of stuff that has been seen in the pre-release materials, the direct, the trailers, anything like that. So if I talk about the game so far, there's not really any spoilers in my opinion. It's just kind of like stuff that's already been kind of referenced. So if you only want to know about the first half of Donkey Kong Bananza, if you're planning on learning more in order to inform your purchase and want to pick it up, then I would say watch my thoughts, listen here, and then maybe stop, because in the second half of my thoughts, Colton and I will just give our thoughts on the whole game and probably go into detail about the second half of the game the ending, the spoilers, all of that good stuff. So yeah, my initial reactions on Donkey Kong Bananza is that it is really incredible. No surprise there. I was expecting this game to be incredible. And it's again, I'm halfway through, so it's too early to say if it's, you know, better than 3D Mario or if it's better than my favorite 2D Donkey Kong games. I'm not going to make any claims like that until I beat the game, and even then, that's might be too early. You have to let the games sit and just really soak in before you kind of like rank them and stuff. But again, the game is incredible. The movement is fluid and snappy. It's very similar to Mario Odyssey in that regard. But Donkey Kong feels like Donkey Kong. He is pretty reminiscent of how he feels and controls in the Donkey Kong Country series. He has the same roll jump, so he gains like momentum faster than Mario does. He also just has that heft to him. When you jump and when you move, you feel like the character has more weight. So just because it's a 3D Mario team, it doesn't mean Donkey Kong suddenly feels like Mario. He still very much feels like Donkey Kong, and 2D Donkey Kong, just like 2D Mario, they inform each other. So it's really cool to see that in a 3D world. Donkey Kong 64 actually didn't really feel like a Donkey Kong Country Donkey Kong. This actually does more so. Also, the development team has truly honored the Donkey Kong Country series history. Not only with like the moveset and DK's personality, but also Pauline being a reference, which I'll get into the timeline and canon and lore at the end of this video, because I have some thoughts there. But there's Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, and Rambi in this game, which isn't a spoiler because they were in pre-release materials. And then there's also 2D side-scrolling levels that are reminiscent of famous iconic levels from Donkey Kong Country back in the 90s. So that's all really cool. It kind of feels like a time capsule of everything that's come up until this point for the past 40 or so years. And I really love that. But yeah, the general structure of the game is very similar to Odyssey, which I adore. You know, 3D Mario, you go into a level, you get a star, you pop out. And you keep popping back in and out. And Odyssey and Bonanza are not like that. You just keep progressing, which I truly think is the future of 3D platformers. It honestly, Banjo-Kazooie was like that, and it's really just kind of a 3D Mario thing. That worked for 3D Mario, I think, back in the day, but I think this is the future, especially now that the games have way bigger worlds and are way more expansive, and you're spending more time there. So it feels very good to explore. You obviously aren't chained down on a specific path. It's similar to Odyssey in that regard. It's obviously not one big giant open world like Zelda, but I wouldn't want it to be. So it's very grand sandbox levels with a lot of vertical up and down movement. There are like the giant distances between entire layers and worlds, but then there's each layer kind of has sub layers as well. So you basically, and they're connected to the main layer, if that makes any sense. So you can dig and go down and up. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that it's not just moving left and right, north, south, east, west. There's a lot. This game is 360, a 360 sphere. You can go anywhere, you can do anything. The terrain, some of it can be destroyed, most of it can, but in different ways. There's so many different types of terrain that you can use for puzzle solving. Again, Donkey Kong movement is fantastic. The environments are fantastic. The music so far, while not quite as memorable as maybe Donkey Kong Country's music, is really good, and all of the songs Pauline sings are really, really catchy. And the vibe is really good. The environments, oh my gosh. I am repeating myself. Anyway. The Bonanza powers. Those are the transformations that Donkey Kong has in the game. 3 have been shown off pre-release. That is the Kong, Zebra, and Ostrich Bonanzas. They're really fun to use. It's really satisfying to be able to just turn into them at really almost any point. Because you need gold to do it, but there's gold everywhere. So you can basically use these superpowers on command and they're all really fun. I would say the zebra is our favorite so far, because just running very fast is the thing I like to do in video games, and zebra is how you run fast. The ostrich is pretty fun with flying and flapping and fluttering. You can ride on updrafts and get around the world that way. And the Kong Bananza, you're like a silverback gorilla. You're just stronger. So what DK already does is just better. So those are the 3 transformations so far. They're really fun. Combat's really fun. It's simple, but all the enemies kind of have to be defeated in different ways. There are some flying beetles that have to be defeated by throwing their rocks back at them. There are gyro controls in this game. So yeah, like Zelda, Splatoon, there's actually some motion controls mixed in that I think really enhance the experience. You can also shake the controller to turn into a Bananza transformation. I haven't really been doing that, but you sure could. So yeah, I think Pro Controller is probably the best way to play this game. Whereas Mario Odyssey, I actually kind of prefer 2 separate Joy-Con. But yeah, there is some motion controls, which I am a fan of. But yeah, the bosses have been pretty good. Definitely on the easier side for the first few levels, but the challenge is starting to ramp up, and it's not quite as forgiving as 3D Mario is, so it actually does kind of have more of a bite to it. Kind of like 2D Donkey Kong's harder than 2D Mario, I would say the same about 3D Donkey Kong or 3D Mario, just to give you guys like some expectations of difficulty. But again, I haven't been to the second half of the game yet, so it's probably going to get even harder. It's not that hard though. And again, you can go anywhere and do anything you want. So if something is too challenging, like one of the optional, sub areas, you don't have to do it. So most of the hard stuff in this game is optional, which I think is a great way to handle this kind of all ages kind of game. Because young people want to, get through the main story, and then older players like us will want to do that, but also be challenged, because we've been playing games all our lives. So I think that is a good balance. But yeah, Donkey Kong Bananza, the story is not going to win any awards, but it is cute. It's really nice to see the dynamic between Donkey Kong and Pauline. That gives a story kind of a kernel of heart. And Pauline has fully voiced, so hearing her talk and just kind of be like kind of our insert, she has lots of observations of the world and talks about how weird it is and everything. And Donkey Kong doesn't talk, so I think it's a nice balance to get her perspective, just like it was with Cappy in Mario Odyssey. There are truly, I might have to make a list. There's probably a few dozen parallels between Odyssey and Bananza. The design philosophy is very, very similar in a bunch of different ways. But that being said, they both have their own identities and they feel like very different games. This is not a Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 situation, not at all. These are very much 2 very separate games, with a lot of the same good ideas implemented, because some stuff isn't broken, so don't fix it. And what would have been maybe same old by making an Odyssey 2, they didn't do that. And honestly, I like that, This is Donkey Kong's time. He needs a 3D game. And I'm perfectly fine if it's, a few years or more between now and a 3D Mario. Odyssey was peak. It's hard to imagine a better Mario game. But Donkey Kong, he needed his good 3D game. So that's basically what I think. I think this game needed to happen. I mean, Donkey Kong's getting his own movie now. He's got a part of the theme park in Super Nintendo World. And, big appearance in the first Mario movie, too. So yeah, they want to build Donkey Kong back up into the icon that he was in the 80s and 90s, and it's really cool to see that happen. But yeah, I think those are my thoughts so far on Donkey Kong Bananza. It's a great early Switch 2 game. I'm more of a single-player guy, so this Mario Kart World is fantastic for what it is, but this is definitely my favorite Switch 2 exclusive so far. There's a lot more to come, but I have a feeling this might continue to hold that crown for quite a while to come. But yeah, I'm really excited to play more, and that might be happening next. Also, this game is beautiful, so I've been taking lots of pictures as well. I've probably been showing some of those on the screen here and there. But yeah, really fun to exercise the photo mode in this game, and I love the animations and expressions. They're all really great. All right, now it's time for me to play the rest of this game. at least the main story, because I hear there's a ton of post-game content. But let's do it. It's time to eat lunch. The only lunch I'm allowed to eat. Oh, banana. Can I unsheath this with one hand? Not very well. This is first-person perspective of Donkey Kong Bananza. It is now some time later, pretty much exactly a week after I started playing, that I've finally finished the main campaign of Donkey Kong Bananza. I finished with 517 bananas, so it was a pretty thorough first playthrough, more than 25 hours. It's a long game. It's a 3D platformer with a bunch of stuff in it. But yeah, I finally beat the game. I already talked about the first half of the game, but now here's your spoiler warning, because I'm just going to talk about the second half of the game, the end of the game, and etc., etc., so that's your final warning. But yeah, I really love Donkey Kong Bananza. It's such a great companion piece to Super Mario Odyssey, and that duology might be the two best 3D platformers, at least for me. This game just came out, so it's got to sit in my head for a while, but it's fantastic.
I don't want to be filmed.
I don't want you to be heard.
Well, I can't control sneezes.
What'd you think about the game?
I'm not doing this right now.
Did you like it?
I'm not doing this right now.
Well, you could say it off camera. I'm keeping this in anyway. Anyway, I'm sure he'll sneeze and groan and moan more in the video. Anyway, the game was a lot of fun. Each of the layers kept getting more interesting. The final two Bonanzas are really cool, being Elephant and Snake. You got to suck up all of the debris, making it like a Luigi's Mansion on steroids with Elephant. And now Mario and Donkey Kong are both elephants together. It's very special. And Snake was maybe my favorite transformation of the game. Getting to slow down time and bounce around was a lot of fun. And I really just loved everything that kind of came in the second half of the game. There were some appearances by Diddy and Dixie Kong, and a fun little racing minigame with the Ramby rhinoceroses. So that was really cool. And yeah, it was great. It was a great game. I'll continue to share some pictures here, some of the end game as well. But the final boss, the final ending and conclusion and everything was quite incredible. It's official. King K. Rool is back, which I was honestly basically accepting that wouldn't happen, because the Void Company and those villains were pretty cool, and there were tiny little hints that you could interpret as K. Rool foreshadowing throughout the game, but nothing super concrete, and especially since, other than Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, he hasn't really been in a game in like 2 decades, and even then it was like Mario Baseball and some Game Boy Advance spin-offs. So basically, since 1999 with Donkey Kong 64 was the last major appearance, and that was 26 years ago. But it's a 3D Donkey Kong game, and so both 3D Donkey Kong games have K. Rool as the final boss. His design was perfect. They really got his personality down. I love his dialogue and the gibberish sound effects that they gave him and many other characters in the game. And then they did modern 3D models of so many enemies in the Kremlin crew, which is super cool. And that was a pretty long end game. It was quite the treat, and definitely a very awesome send-off for fans of Donkey Kong Country. If you grew up on Donkey Kong like I did, this video game is kind of for the 20, 30-year-olds out there who grew up on Donkey Kong. I think kids are going to love this game too growing up, but yeah, this is like our childhood and their new childhood. It's very awesome. But yeah, it just kept getting crazier. You fought K. Rool at the planet core, and then what happens after that is just this crazy escape sequence, and then ending up in New Donk City and fighting K. Rool a final time. It's really awesome touches. The ending credits song is incredible, breaking through, and it's all really awesome. And I have to share my my lore ideas for this game, and I feel like it's pretty much all but confirmed. But a lot of people were like, "Oh wow, Pauline, time travel, de-aging, what happened?" Actually, this game actually clears up the Mario Donkey Kong lore quite a bit, which I think people didn't expect. I think people just kind of assumed it would break the timeline. But we've always known that Cranky Kong is Donkey Kong's grandfather, right? And then at one point in this game, Pauline acknowledges her own grandmother. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, if Donkey Kong's grandfather was the original Donkey Kong, then this Pauline's grandmother is the original Pauline or lady in DK Arcade. So basically that means Mario Odyssey's Pauline is a brand new character and is the character that we see in this game. And then the only other assumption that you have to make after that point is that if that's DK's grandfather and Pauline's grandmother, then that's certainly Mario's grandfather too. He is Jumpman, he's not Mario. So basically I kind of like that. The arcade game is just all their own dudes, and our heroes in the more main series games are the guys that we get to play as, and the more heroic versions. Because like Mario and Donkey Kong, they don't do mean stuff, but Jumpman and Cranky Kong do. So I thought that was a really cool way to actually kind of make the Mario lore make more sense overall. And you could say that, you know, the Donkey Kong Country series and 64 and Bonanza essentially all take place before most, if not all, of the Mario games. Maybe Yoshi's Island is happening down there. Just disgusting, isn't he? Just stupid.
I can't help it.
Anyway, I'm talking about the Mario DK timeline. There is nothing more important than that. You cannot interrupt it. What do you think about the Mario Donkey Kong timeline? Babe?
I told you I'm not doing this right now.
I mean, I'm filming anyway. Oh man, he's so difficult. He enrages me. He gives me a bonanza. Yeah, the game is really good. If you have a Switch 2, it's definitely the #1 must pick up title right now. Mario Kart is great for multiplayer, but if you want a very lengthy single player adventure to get into, this is definitely that for the Switch 2. It's got amazing things going on technically and visually, and it's just got a lot of soul and heart, and it's really, really, really fun. Thank you, Nintendo, for bringing back Donkey Kong into the limelight again. That was really awesome. And they really celebrated the Rareware legacy as well. So it just kind of feels like Donkey Kong fans, after over a decade without a game, are eating, again, so many bananas. So many nanners. And that is it for this video. Forgot to properly close out the vlog, but yeah. Praise be the leader of the bunch, and we'll see you in the next chapter.